So I'm just gonna read this. We'll vote,
Yep.
and then we'll briefly let the Sovaks discuss their project. and
Beautiful.
Move on. Is it 7? We're live. I'll wait till my phone turns to 7, but I think we're live. I'm good, thanks. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. So this is the December 20th Village of Cornwall and Hudson Planning Board meeting. Old business, and really, I don't think that there's, we need to have any discussion about the old business, which is the 5961 First Street LLC on 275 Hudson Street. I think we went through everything at the last meeting. We've closed the public hearing, so we were just gonna go ahead and read the resolution that Joe has prepared, and then go ahead and just vote on the project.
And Chairwoman, the only question, not the only question, but there may have been, I'd like to clarify if there were renderings submitted after the last meeting, and then clarify the date of the last updated landscaping plan and the last site plan.
Okay, so could we get the dates clarified on what the final, we can go ahead and get that from.
The
Yeah.
last site plan is 11/22/22. And then as far as the renderings of that.
There's no date on them, but December 16th is the architecturals.
So Joe, you can include
11/16, that's John Perkins.
12/16.
12/16.
So John Perkins, architect, that's 12/16/22, and the
And-
plan submitted by Paul Gdansky, that would be 11/22/22?
Yes.
Okay. So then I'm just gonna go ahead and read this. This is a resolution of the Planning Board of the Village of Cornwall and Hudson approving the site plan application of Firth Street LLC for construction of an addition to contain 3 one-bedroom apartments in the central business shopping zone at 275 Hudson Street. Whereas the Planning Board of the Village of Cornwall and Hudson received an application from Firth Street LLC to approve the construction of 3 new single-family dwellings at the premises situated at Section 107, Block 1, Lot 3 in the Village of Cornwall and Hudson, said lot also being known as 275 Hudson Street, the property, and whereas the property is located within a central business shopping zoning district and is currently the site of several multi-family dwellings, and whereas the Planning Board has reviewed the submission of the aforesaid applicant, including a plan prepared by John Perkins Architect, last dated 12/16/22, and the plan submitted by Paul Gdansky, last dated 11/22/22, have considered comments thereon made by Pittengarrow and Deutsch Consulting Engineers for the village, and whereas the applicant has filed and the Planning Board has reviewed a short EAF for the project, and whereas on or about September 20th, 2022, pursuant to and accordance with the provisions of Section 617.6 of the regulations implementing the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, the Planning Board determines that the project is an action subject to SECRA, and whereas the Planning Board circulated its notice of intent to other or interested agencies seeking their agreement or objection thereto in writing within the timeframe required by the SECRA regulations, and whereas no other agency declared itself to be the lead agency with respect to the review of the site plan application, leaving the Cornwall and Hudson Planning Board to act as lead agency, and whereas pursuant to SECRA Regulation Section 617, the Planning Board classified the action as an unlisted action. Whereas the Planning Board referred the application to the Cornwall and Hudson Zoning Board of Appeals for variances required pursuant to Sections 139:17, 139:12, and 172:54 of the Village Code. And whereas after performing uncoordinated environmental review pursuant to SECRA and holding a public hearing, the ZBA issued a negative declaration and granted each of the requested variances. And whereas the application was referred to the Orange County Department of Planning pursuant to 239 of the General Municipal Law, which agency determined that the action was subject to local determination and provided no binding advisory comments or suggestions. And whereas on October 18th, 2022, the planning board determined that the application was complete for purposes of secret review and scheduled a public hearing on the application. And whereas on November 15th, 2022, a duly noted public hearing was held pursuant to 7-728 of the New York Village Law for Planning Board to hear and consider public comments on the application and on any potential environmental impacts of the proposed site plan. And whereas on November 15th, 2022, upon review and consideration of the application, the short EAF, the determination of the Orange County Department of Planning that the action was for local determination, the ZBA decision, and the neg deck, the applicant's testimony, comments received from the public, and the comments of the village engineer and attorney, the planning board made a finding there were no significant adverse environmental impacts associated with the application. And whereas on November 15th, 2022, the planning board issued a neg deck with respect to the application, and whereas on November 15th, the planning board continued the public hearing with respect to the site plan application to December 20th, 2022, now therefore, it is hereby resolved by the planning board of the Village of Cornwall and Hudson that the application of First Street LLC application to allow for the construction of an addition to contain 3 new one-bedroom apartments on the property situated at Section 107, Block 1, Lot 3, in the Village of Cornwall and Hudson, said lot also being known as 275 Hudson Street, is hereby granted site plan approval, subject to the following conditions. 1, the project shall be constructed in accordance with the plan prepared by architect John Perkins, last stated
December 16th,
December
2022.
16th, 2022, and in accordance with the proposed building renderings, 5 depictions submitted to the planning board during its November 15th public hearing, copies of which are attached to this approval. Number 2, the project shall be constructed in accordance with the plan submitted to the planning board prepared by Paul Gdansky, last stated
November 22nd.
November 22nd, 2022, including the landscape plan submitted therewith. Number 3, the applicant shall submit for approval a construction plan to the Village of Cornwall and Hudson Code Enforcement Officer detailing the means and methods concerning the construction and/or relocation of the existing dryer vents, exhaust fans, and their appurtenances in such a manner to cause the least inconvenience to the residents and/or tenants of the property. Number 4, the applicant shall be required to post a performance bond or other financial security in an amount to be determined by the village engineer for the utility improvements and work to be performed in the village right-of-way. And number 5, the applicant shall pay any and all outstanding fees to the Village of Cornwall and Hudson as may be required in connection with the application. Number 6, the applicant shall address any final comments or conditions as required by the engineer for the village and the attorney for the village. So I just need a,
Well, I have a question.
yes.
I referenced the 5 renderings that were submitted at the last meeting. I think there were renderings submitted since the last meeting.
Were they changed?
They were updated to reflect the afters.
They're in my email.
Okay.
Gene sent them out.
They're on display in front.
They were dropped off at
Okay.
Gene's office.
And they were distributed to the building department, or actually the village clerk, because the building inspector was preoccupied.
Okay.
So the question is, right now, the way it's drafted, you're relying on the prior depictions, unless we want to, are they substantially different from the,
Let me show you the differences.
Sure.
As per comments at the last meeting, we just showed where the mailboxes are going to be,
Oh, okay.
the map there, and also where we anticipate the venting of the roof to be, which they're going to go from venting outside of the building, they're going to be stacked up. So
Okay.
those are the only two changes.
All right, that's,
so were there,
I missed the last part.
is the venting on the
The
roof.
vents in the roof where, right now, they currently come out the side, we're just simply gonna stack them and smoke and make a smokestack in other words. And vent them out. Just to show you where they're going.
Okay. And the mailboxes are actually on that other,
Yep.
Yeah, they were gonna,
Just there, right here. Currently, the mailboxes are right here on the property, they're gonna be right there, so here.
no, okay.
Okay?
so I can
you just updated to.
update it to say the 5 renderings that were submitted at tonight's
fine.
meeting, which I think technically is a continued public hearing. So when we're done, we should probably close it because we continued it.
Didn't know, we closed it.
We issued the neg deck. Did we continue the public hearing or no?
No, we closed it.
Okay.
We closed it to public comment. I don't know if there's a distinction.
I'm pretty sure I closed it.
All right. So we closed it. We're just deliberating now. That's fine.
Okay,
That's fine.
so that's all. I mean, that's fine. If you want to just change the date on the renderings, the wording to include the renderings received at the 12/20 meeting. And then Manny, you have those renderings and you'll attach them also to the, okay, great. Well, then we can go ahead and vote.
You can make a motion to approve, adopt the resolution and approve the site plan application. Request a second.
And, well, anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the site plan application.
Well, I would second that. Then let's go ahead and vote. I'm a yes.
I vote aye.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I would know.
Okay. So that's yes.
Who's got it?
Thank you. You too. And then I'm gonna move this right along, to the new business, which is Sovac, 217 Hudson Street. This is supposed to be just a preliminary sketch review of the proposed two-story addition on a mixed-use building, section 107, block 3, lot 5. I'm not sure why, but I know this did make it to the engineer's office because you did not put a complete site plan application in, but the engineer did take the time to go through and look through. And there are some variances we believe are going to be required. I don't know if there's any existing variances already on the project, but if you want to briefly, whoever wants to speak, whether it's you, Ms. Sylvester.
So you're sitting in for Jason?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
You gotta look a little different than you do.
And if you could just state your name, tell us who you are when you're speaking, that'd be great. Thanks.
Jason Lishwick with Lishwick Architecture. Right.
So they did send over your project to our engineers and they put a bunch of comments together. I don't know if those comments made their way to you.
No,
They did not, okay. So,
yeah, it's more of a preliminary workshop.
right. Oh, I was surprised we got comments on it, yeah, to be honest, so I'm not sure how it made its way over there, but we did, so you might as well see them. I don't wanna go through them tonight because it's preliminary, but like, you can go ahead and we may as well send them to you since they're done. Thank you, have a good night.
Thank you, night.
Did you guys get copies of this? Not here.
I didn't get you.
I demanded it,
When did you get it?
in my packet.
Oh, you had to go get it.
Yeah.
Ah,
I don't wanna talk about something. You got one?
I got mail.
Oh, she got the
Did I
most
ever get a
this one.
copy of the MS4 report to into the library? I don't
that's my
remember.
wife, got a house.
Is it not?
Is that-
Send it to you, send it to DEC, I will make a note of it.
I cleaned up the house.
It's in there, it's okay. I made notes,
There's the Hudson Street.
right there.
Yeah.
So Hudson Street's over here. Okay,
So currently, the existing building
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost that time, yeah.
at the address is.
Comes by quick.
The bottom floor is used as a professional office building. It has a 1 single-family apartment above. What we're proposing to do is add a, like, 1,200 square foot addition to the back, 2-story, for office space. So it's gonna be connected to the existing offices that are in the existing building. Then we'll have first floor will be office, and the second floor will be office as well. So first floor, about 600 square feet, and the second floor is 645 square feet. And we're keeping within the existing setback of the existing building is 1'4", and we're not exceeding that setback limit. We're maintaining, the new addition will also be 1'4" from the property line. So I don't know, you guys mentioned something about the variance before, I'm not sure if, the building's
Well,
been here.
one
So
of,
the building goes at an angle.
Yep.
Right? So as it goes backwards, it separates from the lot next door, the house next door. Is that distance at any point 15 feet? It's not 15 now,
It's not 15
it's
now.
about 3 feet, I
Right.
think.
the,
Yeah, so
So how does,
reviewing the zoning, it said that in the district of the business, that it was, the setbacks were, what they were
The us-
required by the planning board.
yeah, I can
For
tell,
the
the,
residential,
I can tell you what it was. The issue is the lot coverage.
yeah, that's my
Because-
second question.
Because there's I believe it's a maximum of 70% lot coverage.
Yes.
The engineer is believes the way we're interpreting the code is that the parking area is also part of the lot coverage calculation. So the way that between the building and the parking lot, virtually the entire lot is covered.
Right now, this is a dirt parking lot.
Okay.
So there is no pavement.
That could certainly, that would go into the calculation as well. But that was one of the, things that jumped out with respect to the application. If it's going to be, it's not necessarily, well, if it's impervious, I think it's going to go towards the lot coverage count. So the question is what that calculation actually comes out to be. Based upon the plan, it seemed that it was most of the lots being covered.
Yeah, so I have on here the lot coverage percentage, and we're providing 37%, and 50% is permitted.
So let me read the engineer's comment. 172,
No, yeah, go ahead.
172-9E3B states that in no case shall building height exceed 45 feet or lot coverage exceed 70%. The proposed lot coverage is nearly 100%.
That's not true.
So I think the difference is what we need clarification, you're here from,
I'm here from Jason's office
So,
for Orlando.
so lot coverage, if it's impervious, is it not considered in the calculation? So meaning if it's a dirt driveway and dirt parking spots, does it not get included in the calculation?
I would have to look at the definition. I think that the lot coverage definition in the village's code is actually quite odd because it also includes, if I'm remembering correctly, structures that are underground, which doesn't really make sense in terms of how we typically think of lot coverage. I'm not sure if it also includes dirt. My guess would be no. I think gravel would be going more towards impervious, and something like gravel would be considered coverage. But we can review that and look at it
Yeah,
more
I
closely.
mean, that would be something that we'd need to review, because that would make the difference in whether the number of parking spaces. So like, that would be one and then two variances, right?
Correct.
So, also, he submitted a survey that was an older survey,
Yeah.
and we had a new survey done, which we have not submitted.
Okay.
But we do have it, and technically, you see from here, the parking area is just this. This is all grass back here.
Well, it's not going to be though, it's going to be parking
That's
spots.
so, well, those are what was on the original
I gotta talk to Jason
survey,
because
so we showed them.
he's
We would
reading it
like to
wrong.
keep that as
Hmm?
grass.
He's reading it wrong.
But you don't
I'll-
have
I'll
enough
give- I gotta
parking
give
spots
Jason
then,
a
you
call.
what is-
definitely need a
It's
variance.
the
So you
second time
need
that comes up.
one for each 300 square foot of floor area in a business of like those type of use.
What was it,
One for every 300 square feet of floor area in use, but not less than 4. And then for the dwelling, you need 2 for each dwelling unit. So you need at least 6 here. So if you don't have those in the back, you don't have enough, and you need
So
you'd
what
need a
about-
parking variance.
What about on-street parking, since it is the village?
That's, well, I don't think that,
What was the question?
On,
so they need at least 6 parking spaces. They need,
Plans are showing 8.
the plan's showing 8, but he's just telling us that these
So-
4 in the back are not actually happening. It's grass
So-
back there.
Right now, the back lot behind the garage, grass. We showed those as potentially 4 spots back there. We would prefer to keep the spots in front of the garage behind the building, which gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, which is one is a handicap space. We also have on-street parking all down Hudson, and I think in front of her building, there's 3 or 4 spots just there.
You can't get credit for street. This is all street parking that you must provide.
It's-
Street
you
parking
have
is
to
no
get a
credit to you.
variance.
It has to be off-street parking,
Yes, sir.
so who parks on the street?
General public.
Yeah. You just have to go to the ZBA for that. I mean, that's up to them. Just so you know.
Yeah.
That's-
So
But, so it's not gonna be residential, it's just office on both floors?
it's an addition of the commercial space of the first floor.
So there's an existing apartment, you said though, so that's
on the
going
second
away?
floor.
No.
No, that's staying.
We're staying there. We're trying to not touch that apartment at all.
Okay.
Leave it.
That's what makes it mixed use. Yeah, one,
I was just curious, how, because I walk every day and I see the house. How would you access that second floor? Where would you come in, how did you get
the
there?
entrance is in the rear. That's where we have this little bump out here. This would be the entrance to the,
Oh, okay, that makes
Apartment.
sense.
and then this is all access through the first floor.
And the second floor is the office?
The second floor. is the
Oh, they're
one-bedroom
both
apartment.
offices?
Yes.
Yeah,
both
so no apartment upstairs, okay. You mean it. I mean,
I think
it's,
they need.
yeah,
to
I think
read-
you just
They
need
don't
to,
have this, so.
I mean, since we have engineer comments, we may as well get them sent over to you. I mean, that's like a bonus you're getting. You know?
Yeah.
And then, but I do think that if you're gonna continue with this, you know, the format and that much square footage of business, I mean, it's certainly something that would fit in the business districts. I don't think anybody's opposed to that, as long as you can make it meet code. But it sounds like you're gonna need a parking variance.
Okay, yeah, because that's what we really wanted to do is come in and kind of present it to you before we got too far into it and kind of see if you.
Yeah.
According to this, I think lot coverage also needs a variance, or no?
well, we have to clarify how we're calculating the lot coverage.
When I do the review for the application, because it came in at the last minute, so I didn't get a chance to do a review, I'll check all those things and make a determination if he needs a variance
Just
on
see if
that.
there's any, if you could let us know if there's any I don't know if you know, Stephanie, are there any pre-existing variances on the property that you
No, I
have?
don't think anything's been done to the building
Since it's been there, okay.
since at least since I know about it.
Yeah.
It mentions that there are some existing variances.
It's in there maybe,
There may be. okay.
right, so that's what I'm just asking Manny, if you could
I
find out.
will,
if there are.
I will looking into that, yes.
But, I
And-
mean, we certainly can get these, we'll get the comments sent over to you since we have them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep. And there's some
clean.
updates to the application. No
There you go.
EAF was submitted yet.
Yep.
And you want, I get it, it's just supposed to be preliminary, right?
There you
So
go,
when you
sir.
see we'll provide the engineer's comments to you. And I think the primary thing would be the lot coverage calculation. Make sure we're okay on the parking, get the EAF with the mapper. Just make it a complete application. And I'm sure our engineers will be open to a call to kind of work out the calculations and stuff like
Right,
that.
yeah, because that's, based on this, not the parking spaces being impervious, the handicap being pervious, or the handicap space being impervious, the rest of the spaces being impervious. That was where we came up with the 37% of lot coverage. So we're pretty well below what was required.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the way the calculation works, then you're below it, and then
Yeah,
it is what it
the
is. But
definition in
I
the
think
zoning
it
code
should
was a
just-
little, didn't really say what the lot coverage. Usually you have building coverage and you have lot
Yeah, we
coverage
just have
for-
total lot area coverage in the
Yeah.
village, we do, yeah. And then I know this is just a preliminary drawing, but like some of these parkings, a few of them are greater than 10 foot, a few of them are under 10 foot, like I went through
It should
and
all be 9 feet,
they need to be 10,
10.
Yeah. they have
Okay,
to be 10 by 20.
10 by 20.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can you do variance requests in parallel with planning board requests?
No, you'd have to go to them first. Yeah. Yeah. Because we can't, we need to know whether they approve it before we're, go ahead, so.
Yeah, it's,
You'd have to-
people,
it's
you can get caught up in this back and forth between the boards. So if the planning board determines that you need one or more variances, normally we'll refer you over. Unless it's something that, this wouldn't be a type 1 action, unless it's something that requires coordinated review, then we would process it through the neg deck and send you, but that would not be the situation here.
Right now, the only thing we're looking at is possibly the parking. If we meet the lot coverage, then it's
Yeah.
just the parking.
Yeah, and then were you planning on like sticking with the same kind of siding, like the same kind of look that you have there, so same clapboard,
Exactly
so
the
it all?
same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blend in like
No, because
part of the
it's cute and, yeah,
existing.
all right then, yeah, so will you have those now?
I'll review these with Stephanie as well. So I think it's a project that you, the board would.
Yeah, I don't think
stand behind.
anybody's, opposed to it, as long as, I mean, we're all about it meeting code, so.
Yeah, all right. Well, I appreciate your
Okay.
time.
Thank
Stephanie,
you.
do you have anything?
Thank you. No, that was very helpful. I appreciate y'all taking the time.
All right, well, thanks and
Okay,
happy
thank you.
holidays.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Did you have a chance to go through the minutes?
Do you mind if I review the
No.
coverage definition with you?
I did.
Yeah, it's very simple, really.
Did you?
I think the main hangout is the definition of structure in the code, so,
Structure is a building.
well, in the
The
code it's
October and
defined as
November
any
minutes were
construction
fine.
above or
Robin
below
had one
ground.
question.
No, what does it say that?
If you go to structure,
Well, if you go to lot coverage first,
Mhm.
which is the main thing, the portion of
Doesn't
it,
have to
or
be
the area, or the lot area covered by
Included just the way
all
it says.
buildings and structure thereon.
yeah, I mean, if you go to structure,
Okay,
this
then
is
that's
where it gets a little confusing. It's a weird definition of structure.
It's still on.
Any construction above or below
Yeah,
ground.
construction.
So
Pavement is not construction.
that's not considered construction?
No, that's not. Structure has to be something standing. It's a building. So structure,
Oh, yes.
Okay, so then do we wanna,
something built.
can we make a motion
Pavement is
to
not
approve
anything
the-
built.
The October
Oh,
minutes?
I will let Jason know that that's your interpretation,
That's
so
definitely
that
my
going
interpretation.
forward,
Yeah,
our
yeah.
memo drives with that.
All right, if he has any questions, tell him to come and we'll
No, I think that's
discuss.
pretty straightforward, I just wanted to make sure that that was part of the interpretation. Hopefully not so much work to buy there. See you tomorrow. Do you should have any,
I guess we'll see what.
That was what she was questioning.
yeah, it seems,
Were you
Blue
happy
is
with
just
what
her
it said?
tone.
It's just cleaning it up.
The impervious,
Good night.
Good night.
I'll write it in my copy.
all right.
Okay, so the blue is already, the changes have already been made. Yeah, they were just corrections and. That's, I think, just a date, and Robin, you can just make that date match what's in the resolution?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was losing track.
that's fine.
Remember there was a debate about the original plans and when the project actually started?
So no, she's gonna make it match the resolution.
What is it? Pavement is not lot.
Yeah, pavement is not a structure.
Okay.
Pavement doesn't
Well,
count.
so then, let's do these then, if we're okay with
Isn't
these.
pavement
Let's-
something that's constructed
So
above
I'll make a
ground?
motion to approve the November meeting minutes.
I second.
Building.
All in favor? Aye.
Our code says
Do we wanna hold
anything-
off on October, cause I feel like they're not looking at October right now and haven't, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna make a motion to close the meeting.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're done. Okay, gotta go.
Alright, Raquel,
The portion of the lot covered by.
Yeah, it started at
You
7.
wanna get
so
out before I move my chair?
That would be amazing. Yeah. Let her get off the plane first. You know, they're only seniors once, you know? Thanks, guys. Thank you for,
Basement.
Merry Christmas.
The pavement.
Thank you for not talking.